Thank you so much, Governor, for being back with us. I think the eyes of the nation and maybe the world are focused on New Jersey to some extent now, because you were really the epicenter to some extent of the COVID-19. You fought it off. You took a lot of tough actions. You did it day after day after day, get those numbers down. Now they're starting to come back. Why?
Good to be with you, David. You're absolutely right. And the toll has been enormous. Over 13,000 confirmed deaths and probably at least a couple more thousand that are suspected also to have passed from COVID-19. That's the awful tragedy. Our numbers have gotten a lot better. And so as they got better, we made the decision based on the facts and the science to begin step-by-step reopening our state. So we knew when we were doing that, doing it responsibly, I hope at every step, that we would take on more risk in terms of increasing the potential for transmission. We were comfortable with that risk. What we were not expecting was the explosion in cases elsewhere in the country. And so the rate of transmission has gotten a little bit uncomfortably high for us, just over 1. Today it improved slightly. And so we put in with New York and Connecticut a travel advisory for folks to self-quarantine if they're coming back into our state from a hotspot. As your colleague noted, and by the way, I welcome her to New Jersey as a resident, we are now requiring face coverings outdoors. Those are 2 steps that we've taken over the past 10 days or so. We've held off on indoor dining, which brings me no joy, but it's quite clear that this virus is a lot more lethal inside than it is outside. And so we're watching this minute to minute, and again, trying to make the decisions at every step based on the facts.
As you say, Governor Murphy, the numbers are still way better than they were at the worst of it, but that transmission number of above R0, I think it's called, is disturbing. If the main problem is people coming from outside the state, either people who live outside the state or New Jerseyans who've been away and come back, do you really have the authority, do you have the power to control that? I understand you can advise them to quarantine. How do you enforce that?
Yeah, you could do a fair amount, but it is the United States of America, and one of the things we can't do constitutionally is to stop people from another state at the border. I never thought I'd say this, David, but I'd love to be able to build a wall around us, either our state or our region. So it's a big amount of appeal to personal responsibility, and New Jerseyans have been extraordinary throughout the entire pandemic of doing the right thing, whether it's staying at home, now asking to wear face coverings, work at home, a whole series of things that we've asked of our fellow citizens, and they've done the right thing. We need that again. We're developing an app which is not ready for prime time yet, but that will come online. Lots of signage at our borders on the highways and airports. We've built up enormous testing capacity, which we didn't have several months ago. And so there's not just self-quarantine if you've come in from a hotspot, but get tested, for crying out loud. We've built the capacity, use it. So we're hoping to get at this a number of different ways. We've had a few instances that we know of already, and the system has worked. We're building out a large community core of contact tracers. They were able, for instance, to track down some folks who have been at a wedding in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Hoboken had a bunch of folks returning from hotspots. So far, it has worked.